everybody, my name is Jay, and this is our group for Fundare App. This is assignment 4. So far we've been doing well. The hardest part for this project was actually making this video, just finding the right angle and editing and all that. That's going to be our hardest challenge. So far, the project's doing very well. We've got our login screen, still working on that. So far we're doing that pretty well. What I learned so far was that there's managing people is just difficult because everyone has their own schedule. They all have things to do. So we're still trying to work around that. I'm going to apply this learning because in my work we do have presentations to give out, and this is a good practice for that. So it's good to do that. And like I said, the most challenging experience was actually just making this video. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm Wendell. My task was to work on more system model, and I can show you. Well, yeah.
Well, let me get out of your way. There we go.
Okay, so one of our use cases is logging into the app. So what the user does is they pick up the phone, they open up the app there, and then the app communicates back to the phone and the user to ask for the username. The user inputs their name, the app approves the username, and requests a password. After that, a password is entered and it's verified. If it's okay, the app sends a confirmation message, and it locates the phone to get the app working. Okay, and then it also sends, well, that right there is an it's an alt, yeah, no, well, yeah, an alt frame,
okay.
Basically telling you an if else case. So that's if the password works. If it doesn't work, the user gets a forgot password link, and they get a chance to reset their password, basically. So when the new password is entered, it's updated, and then it gets validated, and then the customer would have access to the app, basically.
Nice.
So I'll pass it over to Anna.
So my name is Vina Papachin, and my task for this assignment was actually task 7, which was the report. But before I start talking about that, I wanted to talk about one other behavior model. So this is a user case for save location. And so basically what it does is a user logs into our interface/app, they get OK confirmation, and they're connected to our app, Fundare. And basically we want to find location, so it converts to the GPS API, and basically it stores that location in a database, and then basically what happens is that later on it's updated when it's stopped. So our app then looks at our APIs and sees if it's stopped. If it's yes, then it'll find the location again of the new positioning and stores that location back in the database. So that's like the save location. And then for this assignment, I had task 7, like I said, the report. And so what I learned a lot was obviously the documentation part. We had a lot of different changes, like dealing with their system, like how we can implement it and everything. So we had to really go back and change, make sure that everything is visible in our documentation. So that's something I had to go through and like learn and just make sure everything was updated and keeping in touch with my team members. Also, like this is obviously applicable to our like careers and stuff. Like I also want to be a software engineer, so this is part of something that I have to do, even though it might not be as fun or like not the part that I really want to take care of or deal with. Also, I think the most challenging part, like Jay and everyone said, was the video. It's really hard for everyone to fit in the frame, get everything, and show the diagrams. It's difficult, but also just make sure, like, you know, for future-wise, also, like, we're thinking about, like, different ways to implement stuff, and we changed so much, so, like, one of the things was challenging for me is, like, figuring out what else to do. So, that's it, and I'll pass it on to...
All right. Okay, cool. I was responsible for the app's back end, and I also did some of the front end for the app as well this week. So here we have a screenshot of my homepage, and then here we have our front end. So we've got a simple login button, a register button. We've got our logo and a home bar at the top. so this is the code that we put together for the main screen. So here we've built our routes, and then if we go over to the login screen code. So when they get to the home page, they get to the login screen, they click the login screen, that routes them here. So here we've got a similar thing. We've got a login form object that invokes a login form state object. This is where we integrated to Firebase. And this was probably the more challenging part of this project this week, was trying to get Firebase to work and trying to get Firebase to talk to this app, trying to register it. And if you go over to the database, so now we have this Firebase instance with a register collection, which is essentially like a table in a SQL database. However, NoSQL fits better for us because we're using Google's API. They use JSON objects, therefore it fits. And then these are our tests. We did a couple tests. This is Jay. He got through. And if you click on my record, I was also able to get through. This was a little bit challenging because in the code I had to basically save each of these names, concatenate them, so that way we have a unique ID to each user, because one of the difficult parts about NoSQL is it's hard to relate records because there's it's not relational, it's NoSQL. So this is my solution, my workaround. And then if you go to the location, what we're gonna do is it's not fully here yet. It's still getting there, but when this is fully flushed out, this is going to have a route, location, and then it's going to be first name underscore last name, and then their information. So that way we'll have a way to relate each of the location data objects with each of the registration objects. And that is our setup. And with that, I'm gonna stop talking and give it over to Huiwen.
Hi, I'm Huan. I'm doing the front-end tasks for this week's assignment. So the main functionality I'm trying to implement this week is to get our location, set our location, and also try to let our user to retrieve that car location after he or she parked there, and also guide the user to go to that parking deck. So I'm using the Google Map API, which is on the Google Cloud Platform. And thanks to Brian, he brought all of us to this great tool, Flutter. It's a very, very nice platform for mobile app developing. So far, I have already talked to this Google App API, include that package in my code, and also I can use a lot of functionality included in that Google Map API to get where my location is, and then pinpoint my car location. I really learned a lot from this week's task, and I'm still learning now. I think what we have already learned in the class, which is trying to embrace uncertainty, try to embrace the change, to try to anticipate change, also can be applied to our implementation, because implementation is very detailed stuff, and we always encounter those small bugs which will take a lot of time to debug and read a lot of different kinds of documentation, a lot of tutorials to find which is the real problem here. So we really need to calm down and be patient. Then I think we can become good developers. Okay, I will pass to Abraham.
Hi, my name is Abraham. This is the code for the testing to login and registration page, and I use a Jest framework for this code. And we can see here, I use a test for the valid login, and we can create like a variable for login, and we can put our email and password. And we expect it to say hi login. If it's login right, it will redirect us to hi, you're logged into Fundare. And this is the second test code for registration page, and we can see here this is this is the name, the email, and the password I use to test my registration page, and if it's logged in perfectly, the page will redirecting us to the login page. And for this code, I use the JS framework, and yeah.
Alright, and that concludes our video for assignment 4, and hopefully it's good.